Hello, welcome to Game Night on TableTakes. I'm your game master for Star Trek Adventures today, Peter Atkinson, and I am with an amazing group of gamers. Why don't you all introduce yourselves, starting with you, Bonsai?
Oh, hello, everybody. I am Bonsai Baby here on Twitch. I do a lot of illustrations and a little bit of solo RPGs on my stream and power washing simulators. If that sounds like something you really want to watch, hey, check me out.
Great. How about you, Noir?
Hey everybody, I'm Noah. You can find me all over places. The Noah Enigma, and I just do things. Follow my Twitter to see what those things are.
Ooh.
Excellent. All right. Sarah, you're next.
Hi, I'm Sarah Moore. You can find me on the internet at Pixies and Pins. And you can find me right after this show on my show called Sarah's Table Pacific. We'll go Pacific time at 5 p.m. Pacific.
What are you playing tonight on Sarah's
Tonight
Table?
we are playing The Nosy Bunch, which is essentially if you took an episode of Scooby-Doo and made it an RPG.
Yeah, that sounds great. All right. Javion.
Hi, everybody. I'm Javion. I'm doing gay and this, but that's basically it. Today, I'm playing Stan Jenkins, the chief of security, who's a little timid but very passionate. And William Axelrod, a southern kind of guy who's very brave and likes to go fast.
That's right. So in this game, every player has two characters. And the idea is that oftentimes in Star Trek Adventures, there's an away team and that goes onto a planet and does something or what have you. And so in this structure, everybody has a character to play that's in an away team and has a character back on ship when things are going on there. It can get a little bit confusing, all the different characters. I'm still trying to get my head around it. So thank you, Jamie, for introducing your characters. Why don't we go back through and everybody else remind, Bonsai, why don't you remind us who you are playing?
Whoops, daisies. I should have done that in the first place.
Okay.
Javion's a pro. I am playing Valeris. She is a she, her. She is the Vulcan chief medical officer, also playing Ricky Santos. Hey, everybody. I am a human operations manager. Everybody loves Ricky.
Nice. How about you, Noir? Who are your two characters?
I'm playing Warlow Brack, who is our science chief, and I'm playing Stim, who is our Romulan chief of engineering.
There you go. All right, Sarah, your two characters are?
Hi, I am playing Captain Pixie, who is a human and is going to try real hard not to kill this whole crew. And the other character that I'm playing is Takara, and she is a Vulcan communications officer.
Excellent. Okay, so if we hit, there you go. We got 8 characters. And if you're not familiar with Star Trek Adventures, in this game, the players collectively play basically all the flag officers of a starship. So, I mean, what a game where from episode 1, you are running a starship. So it's the starship's entirely run by the player characters. I have no involvement unless they need a red shirt or something. And so that's that concept really, I think is really cool about this game. And one thing we'd like to do is to just take a moment and talk about mechanics a little bit. We are kind of, we're professional gamers, but we are not yet professional Star Trek Adventures gamers. And so this is kind of a good way for us to review what's on the character, basically what's on a character sheet and what they are and what the different things mean. And if you've never played Star Trek Adventures, maybe you'll find it helpful as well. So there is species, of course, human, Vulcan, what have you. The Star Trek characters are part of basically like a military organization in the way that it's structured, in that they have ranks and positions on the ship. And so there's a rank captain or lieutenant commander or so on and so forth. There's also in the character creation process, the character's upbringing, like what sort of, what helped shape them as a character. And what is, in addition to rank, there's also what's called assignment, which is your role on the ship. So captain, chief medical officer, science officer. Those are assignments, but your rank is independent of that. Now there are rules about what rank you have to be, a captain, say. There is what are called traits, and traits you get traits like your race is a trait, your species, I should say, and your traits generally are either advantages or complications. A trait that is helpful is an advantage. A trait that is a complication for you, or disadvantage is a complication. Not only do characters have traits, objects can have traits. So like the ship could have traits, the planet you're visiting could have traits, the atmosphere could have a trait. It's basically like a hashtag that we can assign to a situation, place or thing or person to say that there's some reason that this creates advantages or complications when you try to deal with it in certain ways. We have characters have, if you think like a D&D, you have your attributes. In Star Trek Adventures, you also have attributes, and you have what's called disciplines. And these are the two probably the most basic foundational parts of your character. Attributes are control and daring, and fitness and insight, presence and reason. These are things that tend to be inherent to who you are, a product of your upbringing, your species, your training, and so on. Where disciplines are more like your experience in education, and those are in areas of command, con with two N's, not as in con person. Con is the ability to use the various systems on a starship, to use the sensors, to use the navigation equipment, and so on. Security, which is basically a combat sort of skill. Engineering, which of course is dealing with the warp drive and dealing with the matter antimatter devices and so on and so forth. Science, like Dr. Spock, we all know science is, and medicine, like Dr. McCoy. So let me pause right there. Does anybody have any questions about anything that I've mentioned here before I get into, yes, JB.
When you were talking about engineering, you kind of just blew past a bunch of ship terminology I've never heard before. I think something about a warp drive, something about physics, maybe. I don't remember what. I don't know. Do I have to know what that is?
You can always ask for. You can step out of role at any time. I want you to all feel safe doing this at any time. Say, Peter, help me out with the techno babble. So yes, the warp drive is how ships go faster than light.
Okay.
So I think any sci-fi setting that gets into big interstellar space travel has to come up with some sort of way that ships can travel faster than light, so that you can give them.
Well, I'm not the engineer, so I guess I don't really have to care.
Fair enough.
We're all in this together. You're not just gonna leave Stim on his own.
Stim's got this. Stim's disciplined.
So the core mechanic in Star Trek Adventures is that when you have to do a task that's automatic, where the outcome is uncertain, like in D&D, you might have an armor class you have to hit, or a difficulty number that you're trying to reach. It's that number that you need to hit is determined not by the opposing force, but by the combination of which attribute and which discipline apply. So if you imagine these attributes of things like control and daring and fitness, and these disciplines like command and con and security and even engineering, imagine this as a big matrix where everything you do, you're figuring out which one from these two categories that you're going to need to do this task. And you add those two numbers together, and you're going to get a number typically that's somewhere between like 8 and 16 or somewhere in that range. And then you roll 2d20 or more. There are ways of getting a larger dice pool, and each die roll that is less than that target number is a success. And the difficulty of the task is how many successes you need. That is the core mechanic of Star Trek Adventures. And there are other things that come into it, of course, that layers on. This is a crunchy system, FYI. Should we go on?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
So there are also what you have focuses. Now, what a focus does, it's kind of like a more special, it's kind of like a discipline, and that's an area of knowledge, but a focus must be narrower than a discipline. So a discipline might be science, which is really big, or medicine. A focus might be something like computers or anthropology. I mean, any topic that you could that you could specialize in, and it might cross disciplines. By the way, it might apply to multiple disciplines. So, if you are in a situation like we were in the last game we played, where computer skills and mathematical skills were important for a task, then if your focus applies to a task, then your discipline value increases what's effectively the threat range of the system. So let me back up. When you roll your d20s to do a task, every one counts as 2 successes. Okay, so in Star Trek Adventures, you're always trying to roll low on the d20s. So a 1 is basically like rolling a 20. A 20 is like rolling a 1. It creates complications. So if you think of it as a 1 being a crit, if you have a focus that applies, then anything from 1 to the score of your discipline that you're using is effectively a crit. So if you have a discipline of 4, then a 1 through 4 gives you 2 successes if it's covered by your focus. Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
so here's my question.
Yes.
Yeah, good
Let's
thing you're
say I have-
professional gamers.
Let's say I have 2 foci
Mhm.
that both apply to the situation. I roll 3 2s. Does that mean I get 6 successes?
I love where your head's at. I love what you're trying to do.
12
but
successes?
No.
Okay.
I put the hammer down on that real quick.
Okay.
No, only one focus applies.
Okay.
Pick one. You also have what's called talents, and I think a talent's kind of like feats, maybe in D&D. And each talent basically has its own rules. So I don't know sort of a generic way to talk about talents, but they're just specific things that might be that each character has 4 of them, and you're just gonna spring them on me. I had a lot to digest and figure out this game. I'll be honest, I didn't read any of your talents, so you're just gonna surprise me in the middle of the game. You got, oh wait, Peter, I got a talent. Blah 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 blah. That also means don't rely on me remembering your talents because I didn't read them. It's on my list. Okay, give me a break. Okay, that is the main stats in the character sheet. I think I think we should just leave it at that and keep going because
Yes.
we won't talk about rules for half the game. So all right. So before still have a couple introductory things to do. Last time we played, we had a safety discussion, and just so you as the audience know, topics that will not be in this episode are sexual violence, violence against women or children, withholding food as a form of punishment or starvation, and transphobia, racism, bigotry, with the exception that it doesn't apply to aliens. We can be as bigoted as we want to versus aliens and vice versa. Hey, you guys set these boundaries. But yes, okay, that was no graphic descriptions of torture and no trapping of your conscience forever inside of a computer. Thank you, Jay Beyond. If I missed anything or if you think of something else, let me know. Happy to try and make this a safe space for everybody and stuff. And also a call out to the Noshri Cafe in Sturgeon, Wisconsin, who watches us live in their game store. Thank you for thank you for coming in. And if you're not any other play, if you're broadcasting us live in your store, your bar, your restaurant, group of friends, let us know. We'd love to give you a call out. Okay, we have done all the introductory stuff. Let's do a quick recap of what happened in the last session. Just so you're joining us, this is episode 2. What happened in the first episode? Well, first of all, Captain Pixie was, after assuming command of the USS Revelation, she still had not met her commanding officer, Admiral Hill. And when she got to command, she found out that Admiral Hill has a bit of a reputation, and eventually did meet him, and it was a bit rough. But it was role played excellently by Tony Sloan, and their botchery came on and played Admiral Hill for us. Turns out he might have caused the death of some of his crewmates and been dishonored for that.
As you do.
We also established that in my version of the Star Trek universe, the role-playing games are really popular, and that there's a game called Modiphius, which is the most popular RPG out there. And the secondary characters of all the players regularly get together and play Modiphius. And we determined that it is a high-octane adventure sort of game, and where the previous episode they escaped by blowing up the back part of their spaceship, and are now trying to figure out how to get it repaired. So then they went, their mission that they were assigned to by Admiral Hill was to travel deep into the Alpha Quadrant, to the XYZZY quadrant sector, and to Osun Station, and where they're to pick up a xenoanthropologist named Elias and transport Elias to Cato, and Elias will give you more information. And they traveled to Osun Station, and when they got there, when they arrived, they have not been able to reach anybody on the station through normal hailing frequencies. And there's also a apparently derelict freighter floating slowly out of this solar system without any means of propulsion that are obvious. And that is where we left off. So starting today, I want to catch up on the Modiphius campaign.
Great.
Oh, wow.
Yep. This will be our fun little thing that we do at the beginning of each episode, just to find out how the Modiphius campaign is going. Okay, so today, I would like to hear from Bonsai about Ricky Santos's character, and what sort of character is Ricky playing, and in this most recent episode, Ricky was like the star player who was really cool, or his character, which might be he or her, or other, and was really cool. So tell us a little bit about Ricky's character.
Real quickly, maybe we could explain to the audience that there is a game of Modiphius going on inside this game.
We did?
Yeah.
He just did.
He just
explained
okay.
it.
Well, but apparently not clearly.
Just want to make sure everybody knows that
it's
a
a
second
game.
inside.
It's weird enough to bear underscoring that inside the Star Trek game, some of the officers of the starship play this role-playing game called Modiphius. And all right, and so now we're going to find out who the characters are in this game. All right, Bonsai. There, we stalled to give you a little extra time to think about it.
Okay, stall to give. So of course, Ricky is obvious playing a bard-like character. That's just Ricky's personality.
Space bard.
Space bard.
Space bard. I plan to get all the alien ladies with my enchanting electric key piano guitar.
Does he plays a keytar?
Guitar, yes. Plays a guitar. And I just helped win our safe travels into a very tough situation because I have seduced, of course, like I always do, seduced a high official that allowed us to travel within their borders in more ways than one, I say.
Goodness. Boldly going, even.
Boldly going.
Yeah, this is how I get adult content on my stream. I'm not going to bring it up.
That's right.
Excellent. Okay, boldly. Yes. Thank you. All right. That is about the amount of time we will spend on each episode of Star Trek. There, see, we did that in 5 minutes. Great. Okay. So let me look at my little agenda here. Okay, so that brings us back to the serious business at hand. And you have just, where we quit is that you tried to establish communication with the space station and the freighter. And I want to remind you that there are mining operations on the surface of the planet here. Osun is orbiting a planet called Oyo in the Migo system, which is rich in lithium. No, not lithium. Trilithium. Something, one of those Star Trek metals that sounds like a real metal, but much better. And so it's up to you what you want to do next.
Can we try to establish communications with the planet? Can we try handling the planet?
No, you have not.
No, I would like to. I asked if I
Oh.
could.
Yes, you can. You absolutely can try to do that.
I'm gonna give it a shot.
Okay, so you know that there are mining operations there. You don't know, that's just in the report. There's mining operations on
Sure.
the planet of Oyo. There's nothing in you might recall, and I'll tell the audience that one of the challenges in this mission was that all the data that Starfleet has on the Migo system is very scant. It's very dated. Like the system was discovered a long time ago. There was no intelligent species. There's no indigenous life in the Migo system. There just wasn't interesting from the perspective of the original guy that the original person that found it, which was like Captain Owu, who was an explorer from decades past. But a mining operation went in there and found valuable metals instead of these operations. So you will have to find, using the ship's sensors, perhaps, where this mining operation is. You kind of have to, in order to establish communication, you kind of have to have an idea where you're communicating. So
Fair. Who would be doing that? Would that be Warlow or Sten? I feel like it is one of them is it's Noir.
Yeah.
Noir, can you just
yeah. That's a good question. I asked Anita that question. By the way, they're probably going to use their sensors. Who does that? It's typically the science officer. But also in your ship, actually also has an extension, a modification. There's upgrades to the ship, and you have one. There is a sensors console for doing sensor checks at the communication officer's chair as well. But
okay.
But let's defer to a primary character for this. Yeah. Okay. So Warlow, as the science officer, you can do a sensor scan if you like to look for the mining operations. Okay. So this is part of doing this is that we have to figure out which attribute and discipline apply for this situation, and that is going to be con as your discipline will be con using the ship's systems, and the attribute will be reason. Now, whenever on all these tasks, I will say this, I will declare what it is. You can always try and steer this to your advantage by saying, well, if I do it in this way, maybe instead of reason, it's daring or something like that, right? So that's the back and forth that we can have in the system. But and then I also need to declare what the difficulty of this is. And there is a difficulty here because these mining operations don't like to be found by potential pirates or scavengers, especially this far out on the fringe of things. And so finding the mining operation on the planet, and also it's a planet, and the mining operation is, even though it's a big operation, it's still a tiny part of the planet. So this is going to be a difficulty 3 test. You need 3 successes to do this. But you, at base, only roll 2 dice. But there are ways of getting more dice. One of those ways is that whenever you're using the ship's equipment, the equipment itself gets to help you. So the sensor systems on this ship also get to make a roll. And if you get at least one, we revert to the standard rules for assisting in this game. And those rules are that if the primary actor is successful with at least one success, then any successes from assistance apply. Otherwise, the successes from assistance don't apply. So the sensors on your ship have a score of 8 with a con of 2, so it's 10. So Pixie, why don't you roll for the system, and Warlow, you roll for yourself. Again,
that's 2 successes. My combination is 13, and I rolled a 8 and a 12.
okay, you got 2 successes. All right, well, that's not quite good enough, but maybe now you only rolled 1 dice for the sensors.
A little one dice.
Yeah,
I will. Okay.
Yeah, but it's
I
a
had
piece
rolled
of equipment.
2, but I'm gonna roll
Yep.
1. I'll re-roll 1, so it's not like I'm cherry picking.
Okay.
I rolled a 1.
Oh, so you got 4 successes then, because that counts as 2.
Yay.
Okay, so 2 plus 2 you have is 4 successes versus difficulty of 3. So you have successfully located the mining operation, and because you had 1 extra success, you have a point of momentum that you can spend immediately for yourself in a couple of different ways. If you don't spend it, then it goes into the pool of the party. The party right now, by the way, has a pool of 4 momentums, and there's also what's called a threat pool, which is the game master's pool to do trickery, and the game master has 3 threat. So would you like to, first of all, would you like to know do you have an idea what your options are for using the excess momentum, or should I help you? Noir. And you're muted.
For the excess, I was just gonna put it in the pool. I don't.
Okay, great.
I was looking through my talents to see if there's anything I could do with the extra points, but I don't think it's useful at this time.
All right. Okay. So you have found that there is this mining operation that is mostly underground in a mountainous area with lots of fissures and crags, and that's why it was so hard to find. Very, you really couldn't even, like, you can't see it. Like when you look in like cameras pointed at the planet, now you know where it's at. It just, like, even knowing where it's at and that it's there, you can barely see any trace of this thing. But your sensors picked it up because of the good sensors that you have on the ship. And so now you can, now that you know where it's at, you may try to hail it. Communications officer Takara.
I would like to try to call it.
Okay, so the same situation is at play.
Okay.
You have normally being within hailing distance. If it's a friendly vessel, I wouldn't make you make a roll. But there are, they weren't expecting to be contacted at this point in time, perhaps, or maybe they're suspicious or whatever it is. You're going to have to make a test, and it's going to be a difficulty of 2.
Okay. So we're using reason and con, or reason and engineering. What is the?
It's going to be con. You're using one of the ship systems,
Okay.
And plus reason, I think, is excellent.
And I have a focus in subspace communications, which I feel like applies here.
Subspace communications, I think it does.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So that means that my my crit range will be 1 through 4 because I have a 4 in con.
Right. That's right. Yes. See, we are professional gamers. We are mastering this thing.
We're doing
right
it.
off the bat. We're doing it.
All right. So I'm gonna try to hail. Dope. Okay. I got a 3 and a 4.
So that's 4 successes.
4 successes.
All right. Okay. So you have you've established a handshake situation with the communication systems at this mining. Like, you know that you can communicate with them.
Okay.
They're not obligated to say anything, and they have not responded. But you have, you know that if you put the captain on the mic, whatever she says, they'll hear, or somebody else, whatever.
Okay.
So, yep.
Cool. I think it send the message down. Mining base on planet Oyo. This is the USS Revelation. We are checking to make sure that you are not in distress, as we have come upon you, and there's some disruption in your orbit. Anything?
USS Revelation, mining base, Patagonia. I'm Bergwin. State your business.
We are meant to rendezvous with the. Sarah doesn't remember the name of the base. What is the name of the?
Osun. OSU. Osun.
The Osun station, to pick up a passenger, and we can't get them on our communications. Wanted to make sure that everything was okay down where you are.
You can tell that as part of the handshake, that on the other side, they are they're trying to do some sort of security check on you to verify who you are, like to verify that you're actually a Federation starship, as opposed to this is some sort of trickery.
Got it.
And but they're using old security codes that are outdated.
It's an old code, sir, but it checks out.
Well, they're using it to try and verify you.
To try to verify us.
Right. And so they, Takara realizes they have no way of verifying that you are who you say you are to them.
Like, how old of the codes are they? Like, is this like generations old, or is this like?
Yeah, like 30, 40 years old.
Ooh. All right. Takara is going to make that known. Like, they're pinging us, they're pinging our systems, but they're trying to use codes that are so outdated that they're not even in the system anymore.
Well, maybe Stan could help out here. As the chief security officer, he's definitely had some experience with the communicating security credentials.
Okay. Are you going to put on Stan? And so I think Takara's natural thing is, looking at the captain and expecting the captain to make these decisions. So
so go ahead, Stan.
Hello, Patagonia. This is Chief Security Officer Stan Jenkins speaking. We are happy to communicate our credentials with you if need be. If you are not in distress, however, I see no need for further contact. Please respond.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. We would very much like to believe you are who you say you are, because we are in distress.
Okay.
But we do not want to give away our position to hostile opponents.
You are well within protocol. We will send a liaison.
Negative. Do not send anyone here. But if you could get word to our Mercantile Headquarters Guild of our situation, that would be
Also gonna mute the mic real quick, and Captain Pixie is gonna go, "Hey Stan, not your call. Thanks though."
Okay. Sorry.
Right? Nope.
So
I figured that was. Okay.
And then I'm gonna unmute and continue on.
Warlow's gonna go.
so I you have some scenarios that you could try out here in terms of trying to establish what I'm monitoring for, that there's some sort of a command test here to basically convince them that you really are Starfleet. That's kind of what's at stake here, is that they don't they're reluctant to believe that, and you can use some sort of command, basically charisma, if you will, and authority.
I'll do that. Sure.
Or I can do that as the captain.
Or you could do that. I suppose it's your ship.
It sure is.
Feel free.
Thank you.
Make that decision.
I'll make the
There's
decision.
another voice in the background. That sounds like Starfleet to me.
They're like, I think it is. I think it's up.
No, that sounds more like pirates.
I think they're pirates. They're slapping each other.
Dan makes a little note in like a tiny little notebook and he puts it away.
Personal log. Personal log. Stan Jenkins, Star Jenkins. Blah, blah, blah.
Captain Pixie was mean to me again today.
Okay, so this is going to be a test of your command abilities, Captain Pixie, which of course I think is great. And so command is a discipline, and you definitely have some flexibility as to whether you want to, is this sort of insight, like trying to understand, get inside the head of the person you're talking to, or command, attention, and respect? Is this presence? Is this, you're going to appeal to logic and reason?
I think it's control.
Control. Yes. Okay.
And I also have a focus in inspiration.
Okay. Excellent.
I think that they are going to do this. Also, my command is 5, so I'm aiming for 17 or below.
Right. That would be really nice. This is not that hard of a test. They want to believe. So
They want to believe.
I'm going to make this difficulty 2. So
Wonderful. I got 2 successes. I got a 16 and a 13, which are both successes.
okay, great.
Mining base, Patagonia. I know that you are probably a little concerned and a bit scared, especially because you say you're in distress, but I want you to listen to the truth in my voice and know that we are the USS Revelation and we are here to help.
A little mumbling discussion in the background of the station. Very well. Very, very well. Captain Pixie, it's an honor. We have had difficulties in transporters working here recently because of how far around we are. My recommendation is to come on a shuttlecraft, and we would be happy to receive you. I believe you know the location of the shaft that leads to our base.
That is the one that Warlow found, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Great. All right. Thank you so much. We will send delegates down shortly.
All right. And this is a scenario we talked about before with an away team and stuff happening on the ship. Yay. Okay. So Captain Pixie, who will be on the away team?
Well, I mean, I should bring Stan. It's my security officer.
Yeah. You said, and bring, are you going?
I'm going to go.
Yeah, very classic Star Trek for the captain to go out and be on these missions. Yes.
Yeah, because that makes so much sense. I'll go.
Yeah.
Who's in charge when the captain's away from the ship?
The operations manager, which is Ricky Santos.
Oh no!
So it would be typical for you to basically take the lead character. You don't have to though, like if there's a reason otherwise. But
no, I think
it was often good. Spock and McCoy and Kirk, who.
So Valeris, Warlow, Stan, and Pixie will be going. Ricky, don't break my ship.
I'll keep her safe, Captain.
Don't do anything weird to it.
Yeah. Okay. So, and Ricky, by the way, just so you know about ranks and reporting and stuff like that on the ship, there is a reporting structure. And so Valeris, the chief medical officer, Stim, the chief engineer, Warlow, the science officer, Ricky as the operations manager, and Stan Jenkins, chief of security, all report directly to the captain.
Mm.
So Takara as communications officer and William Axelrod as a flight controller report to Ricky. So
Got it.
Ricky is, for you two, Ricky is your boss.
You're my boss.
Yeah. So I want to, I want to get an org chart with the faces of all the players and pretty it up and having a slide that we can pop to. I think it might help us and the audience maybe keep all this straight.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't gotten that far yet. I just have a cheap black and white one.
I've decided
because I'm a PowerPoint geek.
I love it.
I've decided to help differentiate Warlow wears glasses.
That's great.
Warlow wears glasses.
Oh, I guess Ricky doesn't have the ears. There's
Sure.
the difference.
Yeah.
Valeris, Ricky.
That's just one more thing I have to keep track of.
All right.
No, we'll be easy now because we'll either be on the ship or we'll be down on the ground. There are also, if you want to think about these characters. Oh, sorry.
Quick question.
Yes.
This is just something I'm just asking in general. Since Ricky is in charge of the ship while they're going down, is there still like ways that Ricky can go ahead and try to contact the abandoned vessel that is not communicating at all?
Oh yeah. You
or
guys are gonna
somehow
have
bring it. Okay.
you guys are gonna have scenes. That's the whole point of this, is that
All
you guys, there's stuff's gonna happen on the ship while there's stuff happening on the planet. Which
All right.
I'm
Easy,
giddy with
easy.
excitement about this. I think this is just really fun.
Good.
You know. Okay, so yes, that is absolutely the case, and it's kind of also the case that that with the lead characters away, then the supporting characters have to like band together and figure out how to solve problems without having the others there. So,
Solve problems. I feel like that means that Peter's going to do something to the ship.
oh no, this is gonna be very boring. There's nothing interesting happens in this
Nothing
part of the
happens
galaxy.
in this part of space.
That's why
Nothing
Winston.
better happen to my ship. Wait, hold on.
It's gonna
Sorry.
be so much-
Nothing better happen.
Here we go.
Yeah, that's why when Admiral Hill was put in charge of this area, because it's a boring part of space. Nothing interesting ever happens here. If you want to think about the characters too, if you think of the chief medical officer and science officer and a captain are all in the experience level. The only veteran out of all 8 of you is Stam, chief of engineering. He is like older dude, been around.
Old and cranky.
All the other characters are young, like almost just straight out of Starfleet or Academy. Ricky, Takara, William, and Stan, pretty, on the young, untapped potential though.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Okay. So, Captain Pixie,
Yes.
you've got your science officer, your chief medical officer, and your chief of security, and yeah. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stan. There we go. Okay. And you go get a shuttle and head down to.
Do we have to fly it? Are we flying? Are we making a check for flying? Or are we?
Well,
Are we-
let's see. I know. Let's see. You might. Let's just establish thing. So if it's routine, generally you don't. Like getting a shuttlecraft and sailing to XY coordinate on a planet surface, not a big deal typically.
Cool.
Okay. So yeah, so let's stay in that group for a little bit.
Cool.
So yeah, there is no like weird atmospheric issues or phenomena that are going on. That's a typical Star Trek thing. They want to make it something difficult. You all get into your shuttlecraft and head down to the surface of Oyo. to this mining operation, mining base Patagonia. When you have the coordinates from before and from Warlow, who's there, so yeah, it's pretty easy. Also, you have in this group, let's see, I'm just checking out. The highest con score is Pixie, so you're piloting this shaft, Captain Pixie, but again, it's not a deal. It's a new scene, so by the way, you lose a point of momentum every time we go to a new scene. So FYI, you're back down to 4 momentum. As you go down to as you go down towards this place, it's no problem. You arrive down into and even there's some danger. It might seem like going into fissures and stuff like that, but you're not being attacked. You're not in a particular hurry, and all the systems are working correctly, and the shuttlecraft guides you to this place where there's just kind of like this big, huge, overhanging cliffs with cliffs this way. It's almost like the cliffs are like this, and you're coming inside it, and there's an area where there's that this has been excavated out much bigger, and there's a landing base there, if you will, and with a big tunnel going in. You land when you're coming up on this base. Baragwin is on hailing with you and says, come inside for about half a mile, and you'll come to another landing area that is much smaller, and we will greet you there. And for reasons I will explain to you soon when we meet, there's nobody at the landing area, at the main landing area.
Yeah, Stan, can you do a threat assessment, please?
Yes, I'd love to. Yeah. Give me one moment. I'm gonna roll.
Okay, well, let's figure out what sort of task you're trying to do here. So you're trying to assess if something's weird. You're trying to look for.
I want to do a bio scan.
Ooh.
A bioscan of this area where he just said there's nobody at.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, great. Okay, I think that's great.
So you're going to verify the information being given.
you're going to use the sensors on the shuttlecraft, which let's assume the shuttlecraft has some sensors. Yeah, that makes sense. By the way, the difference, you all have a tricorder, just FYI. The difference between the sensors on the ship and sensors on the tricorder, I'm going to interpolate between those and off the cuff. I'm making it off the cuff on what the sensors are like on the shuttlecraft. So the difference is breadth versus focus. And so the sensors on your starship can scan a big area of space, like look for systems like planets and moons and even outside the solar system that you're in and stuff like that. The further away, the harder it is. But your tricorders are much better at very close distances. But like when I say close, I mean like in the same room, like you're hovering over an alien body and you're trying to figure out what organs it has, that sort of shit like that. So let's say a shuttlecraft is kind of in the middle, like it's actually you're not tempted to hail the Revelation and get them to use their sensors. The shuttlecraft sensors are going to be better at right here. So this is going to be use of con plus reason.
Perfect.
And sensing life forms in this fairly open area, I don't think is too difficult. So I'm going to make it a difficulty 1.
Okay. I would like to use my espionage focus.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right.
And
all
I'd
right.
also like to use 1 point of momentum.
Okay.
Get it.
So that'll give you 3 dice.
Great.
Con is your con is 1.
1, and my reason is 8, so it's a 9.
9.
Okay.
I got an 8, a 14, an 11.
So you got one success, which is exactly what you
Success.
needed.
Yep.
So, okay, great. And one less momentum. Okay. And so you got 3 momentum now, by the way. So there are no life. He was correct. There are no life forms that in this area.
Captain, looks like it's all clear.
Thank you, Stan. But he's having us fly like into the mountain.
Yeah, so what this is like there's this massive tunnel that's been excavated, and it goes down at a sharp, like wherever this stuff's being mined, the vein is miles underground. And so this tunnel is going down, but there is out here, kind of in the open, but underneath the lee of these crags, there's a large area where there's warehousing, there's guns, that could be used to shoot at ships, by the way.
Sure. Great. Good.
Those guns are, I'll just give you a freebie, those guns are powered down. They're not, and
Good to know.
not aimed at you or anything.
Also good to know.
I should have mentioned that earlier, but
does this shuttle that we took, does it have any weaponry on it?
The shuttle, has like primitive small arms weapons, good for let's say it has like kind of like a tank. It's got like some machine guns.
Great.
Small weaponry.
Great.
Yeah.
I just just wanted to know if we had to start defending ourselves.
Yeah. If typically they would have phasers, this particular shuttle, the phasers just aren't they malfunction, maybe aren't working correctly.
Weird.
We can retro this here.
We definitely chose the right shuttle, friends. I don't know why we chose it, but we did.
Yeah. Well, maybe you chose maybe they don't have any guns at all, and you chose the good one that's been upgraded.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So proceed.
Yes.
Okay.
Starfleet, we know what we're doing.
Yeah, we're totally fine. This is normal.
So you proceed down this shaft and you come to another sort of landing area, which has some shafts that go in different directions, and also no visible signs of anything going on here. But there is a human man who is just standing out in the open, but not in your way. Like you can easily land near him, and he's wearing heavy coats, like heavy like cold weather gear, and he's got no weapons that you can see. Nothing stands out. There's not any, you don't see any visible means of like dealing with hostile atmospheres. So we should have, that would have been in the regular dialogue. There is an atmosphere on this planet, so it is breathable. Conveniently, turns out a lot of planets in space in the Star Trek universe are just totally fine to breathe.
Fine.
Yeah, totally fine.
Support life everywhere in the galaxy.
Yeah. It makes it a lot easier for filming.
It's just great. Great.
So do you land there?
Mm-hmm. Stan, maybe one more scan here to see if there are other folk around.
Right away, Captain.
Let's just let it ride from the last one. Yeah, there's no other life forms other than him. Yes, Banzai.
Can Valeris see anything that might look like injuries or anything on the person, or anything very visible, like sunken eyes, something that Valeris would know as a sign of something?
Fair. Not from inside the shuttlecraft.
Okay, no, you can't just run off from seeing them. All right.
All right.
Okay, pull up, land.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah, I think have our phasers. Let's do classic. Set your phasers to stun this moment.
Yep.
No stun.
Stun.
That's what stun sounds like.
Oh, Oh, interesting. Where'd you get a slug thrower from?
That's my stun slug.
It's just like a giant shotgun. He's like, I got it. Yeah, so let's go. I'd like go down and greet. I'm not gonna get all up in his
Sure.
personal space, but I'd like to head
Yeah,
out.
he does not extend a hand or anything. He has a closed sort of countenance, like wants to keep professional or distant from you.
Good. Yes.
And he's looking at the shuttlecraft, looking at all of you. You guys are visually checking out. From his perspective, like if there was
Sure.
any lingering concern that you weren't really Star Trek. He's getting a lot of positive signals here of uniforms, phasers, tricorders, shuttlecraft. All looks good.
Insignia.
Yeah.
Can I see if they're carrying any weapons?
This guy, he's by himself, and he does not. He's got heavy clothes. He could be hiding a weapon.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not obviously branding. He's got heavy clothes, and you do notice it's cold here. Like, ooh, yeah, it's cold, and going deeper, it might get colder. You could. Maybe we can back up just a little bit. You would sense that as soon as you open the doors, you guys could put on like flak jackets, like sort of like Air Force jackets that or something. There's got to be some clothing in the shuttlecraft for cold weather.
We put our sweet Star Trek fleeces on and just head out.
Furry rompers.
Yeah.
Yay.
We're so cozy.
Yeah. Okay. So he says, "Well, welcome to Mining Colony Patagonia. It's a pleasure to meet you in person. I'm they use a corporate sort of name. I'm Vice President of Operations, Baragwin, Archie Baragwin, and I apologize for the amount of caution here, but we have there's something going on at the station. We have not had any contact from the station, and we have tried communicating with the station and not been able to establish any communications with the station. We sent a shuttlecraft up to try and check out, find out what was going on. The shuttlecraft has not returned. The shuttlecraft was at some point it was cut off from hailing frequencies, and we're not sure what's going on. Okay. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask how many personnel are on the base.
With 278 people stationed here. Writing that number down.
On Oyo?
Yeah, on this mining base here. We are running low on supplies. We have no agricultural facilities here. We will be in a tough situation within 3 months if we do not figure out how to solve the situation. Okay, so let's cut this scene here and go back to the ship. Okay. All right. So we're following along. We're cutting back to the ship where every player has 2 characters. The other characters are in command of left in command of the ship under operations manager Ricky Santos.
Ricky Santos. Okay.
What is Ricky drinking at the captain's chair right now?
So
Ricky's,
yeah.
not actually drinking, but definitely making themselves cozy in the chair right there. Of course, double checking everything's procedure wise, but very curious about that shuttle that is still not communicating at all. Just offhand, because I have a focus on shuttlecraft, is there
Yeah.
a way that I could use to, communicate or like just actually attach to the shuttlecraft?
Which shuttlecraft? I'm sorry. You have a shuttlecraft on your ship, right? You have the shuttle.
Yes.
And by the way, you have another one.
Because
By the
there's
way.
a floating one that we couldn't establish
Oh,
contact with.
yeah.
So since it's not running or
it-
anything,
yeah. It's actually a freighter.
a freighter.
Yeah. So it's a big ship. In fact, it's almost as big as your ship. I mean, it's huge, but it's not. It's designed to carry, like millions of tons of cargo, and it's not a warship, right? Although it does have some guns and stuff like that. But it's not a shuttlecraft. Shuttlecraft are like small little transport ships that you use.
I was
like, to
confused because
sit
I
down
didn't
to.
realize it was a freighter. I thought for some reason there was a shuttlecraft.
I apologize.
Okay. I will go
yeah.
ahead and do,
And
because we're remaining a safe distance, but maybe do one more swing around
Mhm.
the shuttle just to see if there's any other vehicles or anything that's floating around. Is that possible?
around the planet, or you said
No.
shuttle, but I think you mean the station.
The station.
The space station, right? Yeah. So just to be clear, there's the planet down below.
Yes.
There's the station where you're supposed to go to
Yes.
pick up Elias, and then there is a freighter, which is
Freighter.
a large cargo ship. That is like an oil tanker, only for space. That is drifting out of the solar system. So you could do you want to go around the planet and come back, or do you want to kind of
maneuver around the station?
fly around the space station and get a closer look at it? Or
yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you can absolutely do that, and all the high con scores are on the bridge now with you, so you can easily fly the ship around and be taking a closer look at that and of station. So it's kind of like this. I imagine kind of this tense, creepy, almost like aliens.
Okay.
Sorry, JV. That was pretty.
Okay.
A little bit of tension of mysteries in space. Not sure what the danger is. Flying around the station. What happened here? There's no stuff. So you get a little closer to the station, and you can kind of get some good visuals coming in off your cameras of what the station looks like. It looks like the station has been heavily damaged through what? Who knows? But like there are holes in the station. There's chunks of the station missing. There's things that like are outside of the station, like antenna arrays and stuff like that are broken off or dangling. There's some debris that's floating drifting in the area, and the station has not lost its orbit though. It has a geosynchronous orbit above the mining station, which was kind of obvious once you found it. Like, well, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I will go ahead and be like, well, the captain
And by the
isn't
way,
here.
you have another shuttle.
I do have another shuttle.
In the shuttle bay, there are two. There were two shuttles. One of them is, taken by the captain, but there is another one here.
Is
There
there a
is
way to
another one.
see which systems are down and which ones are up? Like what's available for them to use in that station?
I was just gonna say STEM would like to run his sensors.
Yeah, I was just gonna
You
be
do a
like,
diagnostic.
STEM, my boy.
Sensors. Yeah. Okay. So there is sensors at the in the science officer station on the bridge. So STEM, if you want to, you're chief of engineering, right? So if you want, you can come up to the bridge, and you certainly may use Warlow's sensors.
I'm gonna see if as soon as STEM comes up, I'm gonna be like, hey, do the high five, because I'm trying to get STEM to be friendly.
Still just gonna look at that.
Amen.
Can I argue that this goes in my values of survival? Just to see what damage there was and to see the chances of people actually surviving this.
Survival. If you want to, if your question is whether there could be survivors on it based on how much damage, if that's your question, I would suggest making that a separate test than a test with the sensors. Like if you're going to use the sensors to try to find something on the station, that's a very different task than trying to assess whether there could be survivors based on the damage.
In that case, I would ask to do 2 checks. One, he wants to see the damage to the vessel, and I'll use my value of ship crafting for that if I can.
Let's see here. Okay, so and by the way, it's just I am kind of tough on these questions of whether or not this particular discipline applies.
That's fine.
I'm not mercilessly tough, but I think that it's it's appropriate to have a standard a little bit. Okay, so you have this is STEM, and your focus is you have.
Basically, he wants to make sure that whatever happened to them, he wants to know what happened to them so it does not happen to us. Like, if I can see a warning sign that whatever happened to them is about to happen to us, I'm getting this ship out of the way.
Yeah, I think I'm going to say that I think I'm just going to answer this a little bit without a test because I think you don't have a lot. Like, it's really conditional about what's happened, about what's inside. Like, you look at this ship and go, there is like anything that had a wall with the outside, no, right? But inside the station, further in, there certainly could be places where there's enough structural integrity that there could be still people living there. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just going to give you that one. So on the question of sensors, this is a good spot to use sensors. What are you scanning for?
You brought up the good point of seeing if there were survivors there. So I think that's what we're looking for.
Okay. So this is the first time you've tried to scan the ship, and by the way, I remind you, Sarah, Takara also has a sensors. You could assist in this test if you like.
I would love to assist
because you have a sensors desk or a sensors panel console. Whatever the hell. Right?
I have a talent that may assist if we are scanning looking for life forms. I have a talent called Constantly Watching, which is when you attempt a task to detect danger or hidden enemies, reduce the difficulty by 1. So if we are looking for life forms and we're not sure if they are friendly.
Right. Okay. All right. So the difficulty on this is going to be a 3, and there is some sort of trait about the station that is interfering with the sensors, and you has to do with the composites of the metals involved in making this station, or perhaps upgrades to the station that have made it difficult for the sensors to penetrate. But since there's so many holes in the station, they're not working as well as they would otherwise. So you are, and also in searching for the life forms here, to be conclusive, you're having to search all the way in as far into the station as you can get. So that's the difficulty 3. So we're going to start with you, Noir, in terms of STEM, making the check. You have to get 1 success on your own for the help to apply from Takara, or also from the sensors themselves. So this is going to be con plus reason, unless you want to lobby for a different stat.
Con plus, what was it, reason?
Yeah, your reason is not great.
I was going to argue for engineering.
Oh, engineering. No, this is con.
Okay.
Yeah. Using a sensor is definitely con. But you might lobby for a different attribute instead of reason if you want.
I would probably, nah. I don't know what that should be like a 10 or something. I don't know. Oh, it's 12. Yeah, he said insight, right?
I said
Oh
reason.
no, you said reason.
So you can do insight.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll let either apply here.
All right, so yeah, my insight is 12 and my con is a 1, so that's 13. Yeet. That's 3 and 12.
Woo!
So that's 2 successes.
3 and 12.
Hey.
Right. Okay, and a 3 and a 12 is yeah, that's 2 successes, right? Yeah. Yep. Okay. Okay. So since you got a success, Takara, you may also roll.
Okay.
Need one more.
My reason is 11 and my con is 4. So I need a 15 and I got an 11 and a 10.
Wow, 2 more. Okay. And why don't Ricky? Why don't you make a die roll for the ship's sensors? You need a 10 or you need a 10 or less.
10 or less.
Yep.
What is this using?
Just
Or
1d20. 1d20.
1d20.
Yep.
Okay.
Equipment rolls.
17. So it did not.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sensors were not adding any particular value to it.
No.
They enabled the test, though. Without the sensors, you couldn't do a sensors test.
There's
Okay.
too much micromanaging on my end. I was like, no, this is what you're supposed to do. No. I know. I'm captain, or no, I'm in charge now.
All right, Stim, you succeeded and you got 1 extra success. Now, in your success, in success, you you managed to sweep the entire station for life forms, getting past any place that would have that was hard to penetrate, and you found none. So you are, to the extent you trust science, there are no living life forms here. Takara,
Yes.
okay, and you got an extra momentum, Warlow. Also, that you can use or not. And I'm, for some odd reason, Takara, I'm giving you a extra momentum too, based on your specific check and ability.
Oh no.
And ability.
All right.
Okay, but let's go. Let Warlow go first. Do you have something you'd like to do with that momentum, or would you like to put it in the pool?
You're muted.
Yikes. I said I'll put it in the pool. I was looking to see. I don't think any of my talents right now benefit us in terms of using it for anything else.
All right, put it in the pool. All right. Sarah, you have a momentum that you can spend, and I will tell you that it has to do with your talent.
Okay. Ricky, I feel like there's maybe something hinky about this space station. I think there's danger on board. What are the things that I can do with this momentum? Can you remind me?
Yes, I can remind you. I made myself a little list. Now I just have to find it. Okay. Yes.
Did we run the diagnostics too, or did we only scan for life?
We tried to. I feel like we did that when we first got here because we discovered that nothing was on.
Yeah, nothing was working.
you never used
no light forms.
We didn't do diagnostics. We just tried to hail and discovered that it wasn't.
Oh,
you did not use the
okay.
sensors in the prior episode. Okay, but let me finish this one. But I think Javion might be up on something. Okay, so in the moment, you can use momentum 2 points to create an advantage that could logically come from this task. Now, advantage is like a trait that could apply to the situation in an ongoing sort of way. Okay. You only have 1, right? You can improve the effects further. So you can sort of like add to it. Say, okay, we're scanning, like in this case, we're scanning for this, but I want to get more than just life forms, for example.
Okay.
Or you could, and that's basically it. You also you can steal initiative in combat. That's not the situation. So
okay. Yeah. So can I piggyback on that and and scan for? I'm trying to think of how to phrase it properly. Go ahead.
Let me give you something here. I mean, it occurs to you that life forms might not something could be a threat without being a life form.
Yeah. Can I extend the scan to just threats on the space station?
Yeah,
Feels like
it's
probably
you got the
evil
momentum.
robots
It's
or
like
something.
there's something. There are machines that don't seem like machines you would typically find on a space station. Machines with you're not quite sure if it's just off of sensors, yeah, but just like there's machines in here that are weird.
Ricky, I think maybe we're carrying over from our game and there are evil robots on this space station.
Okay,
Have we run
Javion, you
everything that we
Yeah.
could?
Javion, you were trying to interject here or something.
Go ahead.
Earlier, I was asking if we had already done the diagnostics, and that was actually my first point of interest when we were hailing the ship before we had done the bioscan. But it seems apropos now, just to see which systems are working. Although William's not saying any of this.
William's not going to say, even though I like. Okay, so
Yeah, Ricky
we've
did
done-
just ask.
yeah. Does anyone have any other ideas? That
Well,
we
I
could-
was thinking, actually, if I may, don't we want to try to find out if they got any working systems over there? Because it could help to know how extensive the damage is.
all right, Stim buddy. Can you go ahead and run a diagnosis check, please? Good job, William. High five. I'm a high five guy. Hey, and also Takara, high five.
Takara does not high
That's-
five.
That is Chief
Go high.
Officer STEM.
She's
Chief
working.
Engineer STEM.
Okay, so
I mean,
All right, Stem, I get it. Good job. I
so
believe in you.
the challenge in the diagnostics thing, not to steer you off of it because it's a good idea. The challenge is to do a diagnostics test. Your computers have to interface with the computers there, and you've not been able to interface in any way with the station. You did have, you weren't able to connect your hailing frequencies with the station, and so to run diagnostics, you need to go over there on a shuttle or get close enough to EVA over there and plug into the ship's computer systems.
They don't have Wi-Fi.
They don't
Wi-Fi's
have
down.
Wi-Fi.
It's down.
No, it doesn't exist. Wi-Fi hadn't been envisioned in the 1960s. So we're trapped within sort of
Gotta plug it in.
the extrapolation of what science would be like in this century based on where we were in 1960s. That's the game we're playing, the way I'm playing it. Because I'm an old guy, so it's just kind of fun. You just always have to imagine there's a part of me that's 9 years old sitting on my grandparents' couch watching Star Trek.
Yay.
It's so fun. So anyway,
All right.
okay.
Is this
so
been established?
We'll just plug the ship's USB cord into.
Yeah, just
it'll be fine.
run the
Yeah.
Ethernet cable over to the other ship. It will
So-
just-
All right.
It is a cable. Yes. So yeah, if you took a shuttle over there, your shuttle has its onboard computer is communicating with the Revelation. If you took a shuttle over there and jacked in with the shuttle into the space station's computer systems, that should work.
And
Mm.
transporters, we need a transporter over there as well.
There.
We can't just beam anywhere we want to, right?
No, you can't. Transporters. The transporter topic comes up. Okay, so transporters, let me explain a little bit about how transporters work in Peter's Star Trek. Because actually, it's not very
Oh boy, I don't know if we have
consistent.
time for this.
Oh, this is why I'm here.
Oh, here we
You're
go.
trapped. You're trapped. Yeah. No, it basically, there has to be a transporter room on one end of the connection. So
All right.
from your transporter room, you can transport anywhere if you can get a good signal, a good the transporter device has to be able to get coordinates on a system, and it has to be really locked in and accurate because you're breaking down a human body and rebuilding it on the other end. It's pretty scary stuff.
Well, But this
Yeah.
is great. All we have to do is keep trying. This is how we eliminate. We are doing our diagnostics through trial and error. If we try to send somebody there and it doesn't work, we know it's down.
Stim is gonna look at you and go, if you mess up with a transporter, you only get to make that mistake once.
Well, from what I'm hearing, if we want to get any information, we have to send a shuttle there. And I am a reasonable man. I will go ahead and have a show of hands of those who are here.
By the way, is Ricky the one with a shuttlecraft? I
Yep.
mean, somebody has shuttlecraft.
I have
as a
shuttlecraft.
focus.
Ricky does, in fact,
Yeah,
have
I'm just-
shuttlecraft as a
William
focus.
does.
I mean, do you think that in a situation Ricky could resist getting on a shuttle? Like,
Sure.
I'm just pointing out, you have a focus on shuttlecraft.
You're right. You're right.
I-
You're right.
I
You know what?
Just you get to
really
decide.
need to
You have
figure out-
agency.
No, that's
just
right.
reminding you.
Keep in mind, and then as soon as like somebody raised hand, okay, we have a vote. We are going on the ship.
I actually was.
No, that's,
I was going to
thank
ask
you
a
to Car
question.
for-
I was okay.
We are going ahead. Who? I'm guessing. Since you know STEM, choosing you. William, you're coming to
Well,
Kara as well.
I'm the navigator, so I got to stay on the ship to steer the ship.
So you're coming on the shuttlecraft with us. That's what I'm hearing.
If you want to leave the ship without a pilot, then I suppose.
There's got to be like a third tier. This is a giant ship. There has to be
Oh yeah.
one other.
Nobody
person
can
who
do what
knows
I
how to-
do.
Okay, that's
Takara.
fair. I'm sorry.
Do I
No.
know offhand? Does Ricky know offhand? Just like it, like can it just be fine with like I take this group? This is our group.
Yeah, you can take. Okay, so here, there are subordinates. You know,
Okay.
the ship has like 400 people on it, right? And so, yeah, you guys are the best, right? So whoever,
So
yeah.
all Ricky sees is stars in his eyes that people are gonna commend him. He's gonna like while the captain's away, he's taking over. He's gonna figure out the problems.
He is
here.
used to taking over
Yes.
when the captain's away.
So
This
as
is
soon
very
as
on
William
brand.
says
for
no,
Ricky.
I'm gonna be like, all right, and then throw like basically like here's the list of things you need to bring. Takara, good job. STEM,
Thank you.
pat on the back. We are all going. Get your
No.
phasers and all these
No.
supplies that we're ready, and we are heading. Like basically, I am kind of bulldozing my way through.
Okay,
Like any
so-
opposition is just gonna go blind. And
Okay, so real quick, which character? Is there all 4 of your characters going?
It
No.
seems that way, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay, great. Let's leave it there. We have to be done in time for Sarah's table. This is great. There's
Oh,
going to
no.
be no player characters on the Revelation. What could possibly go on? Fortunately, it's a boring part of space where nothing ever happens. All right, thank you
no.
so much for watching Star Trek Adventures. Let's go around real quick. You could say whatever you want to say, or you can be found on the internet, or just whatever. Blah, blah, blah.
Whatever you want.
Bonsai, you're first.
Hey everyone, I'm Bonsai. Like I say, we're playing Valeris and Ricky. You can also find me on Twitch and Twitters and all the crazy stuff. I mostly just yell and do what I want. So I'm role playing myself.
All right, Noir.
Hey, everybody, you can find me all over the internet as The Noir Enigma. That's Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. We have Morning Ritual Live at KickCon. Sign up for it. It's going to be fun. We have guest Katie Osaurus joining us.
Oh, nice. Excellent. All right, Sarah,
Hi, I'm Sarah Moore. You can find me on the internet at
in
Pixies
5
and Pins.
minutes.
In 5 minutes, if you just stay here, you can see me have a lot of weird shenanigans with a Sasquatch and somebody wearing 1,000 different aprons.
Wow. And you started to say pixies and pins.
I did.
I
I'm
interrupt-
Pixies and Pins. Come find me. I'm
All right.
everywhere.
All right. And Javion.
My name is Javion. You can't find me because I have erased my digital footprint, but you can also find me here every week on TableTakes at 2 p.m.
All right. Excellent. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I had fun. We'll see you again next week.
Bye.